Hey there, it's Ray, and welcome to the In a Nutshell series where I try to make short summaries of games and other media. For this video, we're doing Super Fancy Pants Adventure, the fourth official installment of the Fancy Pants series released in 2017 on Steam. In contrast to the first three games, Super Fancy Pants Adventure has multiple boss fights instead of just one. The soundtrack is just as awesome as the rest of the games in the series, and Fancy Pants now has new abilities at his disposal. Alright, let's get to summarizing this game. The game starts with a storm, which almost instantly fades away. Fancy Pants falls off of his bed and wakes up, exiting his room and finding his little sister Cutie Pants standing at a window, telling him to look out of it. As he looks through it, everything zooms out to show the vast landscape of their world, including the king's royal tub having been turned over during the storm. The game zooms back in and it shows that Cutie Pants has left the house. Fancy Pants goes outside and finds Cutie Pants running to look under the house for their pet cat Caboodle. Fancy Pants follows after her, and as he goes through the basement spire, at least that's what the game calls this place, he finds her scolding Caboodle, who is holding onto a curtain. Fancy Pants jumps towards Caboodle and pulls him down, tossing him to Cutie Pants, who catches him. He then grabs a pen that fell through the torn hole. It looks surprisingly realistic on the other side. Cutie Pants encourages him to keep going, and as he exits the spire, he finds Cutie Pants talking to a stranger. What? I don't understand how Fancy Pants is so slow when he was right in front of you. Huh. I must have interpreted "we'll catch up with you later" a different way then. She is then told by the stranger that she and her brother should come to a campsite the mayor set up. She agrees to this. The camera then pans to Fancy Pants, who continues running. Cutie Pants and the stranger apparently disappear, and Cutie Pants is never seen again throughout the entire game. I don't know, I think that's her in the campsite area on the pink tent? Maybe. Anyways, after absolutely demolishing the obstacle courses and showing no mercy to spiders while beating them to death with his feet, he continues running until the volcano in the background suddenly explodes with ink, and ink creatures start raining from the sky. He heads off to the village while pulling off some cool tricks. As he dashes his way through the campsite, he reaches the royal tub. An ice cream man wants Fancy Pants to relay a message to the stranger, who is apparently the king's assistant, telling her that he's scheduled to set up shop in the royal tub. Fancy Pants does so, grabs some of his favorite frozen treat, and continues moving forward. The place is infested with ink blocks housing ink creatures. He defeats a big ink creature, and for some inexplicable reason, the mayor jumps down from above and thinks it's a great time to ask him questions while he's being hounded by ink creatures. The mayor tells him that the source of the ink is in a cave and references two familiar games. Fancy Pants jumps into a hole in the ground that leads to a cave. Inside the cave is a large blob of ink who tries to smash Fancy Pants. This ends when he slashes at a stalactite hanging above the blob, which cracks and loosens from the ceiling, slamming into the blob's head, shrinking the blob in the process. Ink spurts out from the ground. Fancy Pants sticks his weapon to it and rockets into the air. He can now shoot ink, and apparently he's friends with the pirates? Oh. Yeah, I'm just now remembering the disco room for the third game. Anyways, he goes through the Pirate Valley, which has what is personally the most annoying group of enemies I've ever encountered throughout the entire series, even rivaling the ninjas. These winged orbs of pure evil were the source of my vexation while I tried attempting the New Game Plus speedrun. Fancy Pants rescues Captain Manlybeard, who seems to be turning into Captain Rainbowbeard, and has declared that he and his crew are now tree pirates and are planning to become sky pirates. Fancy Pants goes ahead and rescues each member of the captain's crew from the ink scraps and boards a wooden vulture, which the captain said he could ride on if he rescued the crew. Suddenly, ink tentacles grab a hold of the ship and spawn multiple ink creatures, all of which Fancy Pants defeats hastily and sticks his weapon into an ink spur that appears, making the ship fly further into the air. Fancy Pants swooshes his way through some ink balloons and makes his way to the volcano. Suddenly, a horned ink ball appears and tries his very best to do a Grinch impression. This genuinely terrified me during a playthrough, specifically this one, as I was not expecting it to appear so suddenly. And that smile? I'll probably be remembering that in my nightmares. Anyways, Fancy Pants fights this ink ball by using his pen to slash the smaller ink balls, hurling them towards the bigger one. As a result, the big ink ball goes catatonic, and Fancy Pants enters the volcano, which instead of being filled with boiling hot lava, is filled with boiling hot ink. He makes his way through the volcano, and slashing this winged ink blob actually feels cathartic for some reason. Eventually, the platforms start melting and dripping, revealing what looks like lined paper. Fancy Pants continues moving forward until he stops at a ledge, looking down. A very sticky hand pushes him off the ledge and into the boiling hot ink. The entire world seems to change. Suddenly, the environment is super realistic. Oh yeah! An ink blob creases his way towards a slightly dazed Fancy Pants, who gets up and jumps out of its direction in time. He watches on as an eldritch horror starts forming limbs and turning into what looks like Fancy Pants, but he looks like a bucket of water was dumped on him. The ink has decided to battle his adversary whilst taking a similar form of said adversary. Fancy Pants defeats them, and Inky Pants flies into the air and falls face first onto the desk, turning into an ink blob that chases after Fancy Pants, violently grabs him and slams him onto the desk, sending him hurtling down to the carpet below. Fancy Pants jumps into a notepad and is sent to an unknown place. The game ends on a cliffhanger. Well guys, this has been In a Nutshell. Be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. All the good support, yeah. Alright, I think that'll do. See you next time. Alright, let's copy this. I'm going to paste it in here. I'm going to name this. Finish this up real quick. Alright, there we go.